One of the hardest things when big tree climbing is being able to set a line high enough in the canopy. So I'm going to show you using one of these, which is I think it's by New Tribe. It's called the Yellow Grapnel. One of the hardest things when big tree climbing, so when you're climbing trees which are maybe 60 meters and upwards, if you're doing it for recreational purposes, so no spikes, nothing like that, or if you're pruning them, one of the hardest things is being able to set a line high enough in the canopy. So if you're climbing trees 60 meters, which is 200 foot upwards, what often happens is you shoot a line as high as you can into the canopy, but often you can't get that high point. You end up getting one of the lower branches. So what we end up doing is SRTing up to that point and then having to hand throw a throw line within the canopy up to the next limb, and that could be like 10 meters above you or more, and often it's not straight above your head, often it's off to one side. So I'm going to show you using one of these, which is I think it's by New Tribe. It's called the Yellow Grapnel, and I'm going to use this, and what we're going to do is I've got a throw line up here with me in the tree, and one of the biggest pains in the bum when using a throw line in the tree is having a cube. A cube just is a bit of a pain to deal with. They end up collapsing mid-throw and turning into a tangled mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a line to a limb which is off to one side of us, and then I'm going to have the throw bag hanging from that limb, and if pretending we can't reach it, I'll descend the yellow grapnel out, retrieve it, and pull the whole line back to me. So I'm going to go through that. Okay, so one of my in the canopy throw line setups for big tree climbing was just this. What I've got in here is I've just got an 8-ounce throw bag on the end of a throw line, and I've got it fed into here, into the bolt bag, and it can get a bit tangled, but this is really preferable instead of using a throw cube, because a throw cube in the canopy, usually it pings itself closed and it's a pain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this throw bag to access a limb which is off to one side of me in the canopy. So if we're climbing a big tree, you've SRT'd up as high as you could get the line in, and you need to keep accessing further, but say the limb is off to one side and 10 meters above you, this is how to get the line across to it. I'm going to throw this, and then I'm going to use the yellow grapnel to retrieve it. So I'll show you how that's done. Now, one of the things I like doing is keeping the yellow grapnel on the outside of the throw line, because this is really good at getting tangled up in throw line. So I like keeping that on the outside of the bag. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed out a decent amount of throw line just to make sure that it's not a completely tangled mess, so that it doesn't get hung up when I make the throw. I'm actually going to feed this around the back of me. I'll tie off a little bit of it just so that it doesn't completely feed out all the way to the end. I'm going to take this bag, and the limb which I'm going for is right the way around there. So I'll show you what the issue often is when you're trying to get the bag back to yourself. So this might take a few goes to get it. So obviously, if the throw bag's over there, it's going to hang into free space as it's come down from it. Bingo. Okay, so as you can see, the throw bag is penduluming around underneath that limb off to the side. Now, if this was a big tree, you'd have a huge barrel of a trunk in front of you, and it'd be really hard to try and access that, because also my high point wouldn't be so high. I'd probably be right at the limb which I'm trying to access. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and retrieve that throw bag back to myself using the yellow grapnel. And what I need to do is I need to first add the yellow grapnel to the throw line, and you can do that really, really easily midline. Pass a bite through here and pass it all the way around the top of it, and that's girth hitched it. Now, as you can see, the throw bag is heavier than the grapnel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an additional throw bag out. And what that means is this should balance the weight between the throw bag on the other side and this one. So I'm just going to do exactly the same. Pass a bite of throw line, pass it over the top of the bag, like so. And that should balance out the weight between the two throw lines, between the two throw bags on the throw line. Now what I'm going to do is I've let quite a lot of slack into that, and the reason is because to be able to pull it back to myself, I'm going to send the pendulum down lower than I am. So I'll start feeding this out until it hangs near to the other. Pull it back into me.
Yep, now go.
Awesome. Okay, so what I've done is I've added the second throw bag onto the throw line with the yellow grapnel. I've caught the end of the opposite end of the throw line, and I'm going to haul it back into myself. And this gives me now both ends of the throw line for a limb that is really remote to myself. So now I can connect a second rope, pull it up to that union, and then I can progress my way higher up into the canopy and then to the top of the tree. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that's a good tip for using one of these yellow grapnels. I think they're awesome for a very specific use, and yeah, a few people don't know how to use them, and that's how to do it. Nice one.